Paul Harvey would say, stand by for the news. I've got a lot of news here. I'm probably going to cut through it quick because as you guys can see, well, you can't see everything, but I'm getting ready for the Wednesday night live show, so I got to get things straightened out. I got things scattered all over the place. I got to put up post-it notes up here on this monitor because I've got this old mind and I forget what I'm doing. I know, I don't have my hat on. Villager who lost homes to sinkholes blame negligence. Without getting into that whole story, that could be true because I covered this like a year ago. And they're still, I think, arguing about it. Villager will lose driver's license after golf cart drunk driving arrest. Man, it's just like every day, every day. I know the news seems really repetitive, doesn't it? Somehow they seem to think that a golf cart isn't like a car. It's a motorized vehicle. That's it. And it has a key. Key's in the ignition. You're on a public road with golf cart trails. You cannot be drinking. You are subject to the same rules and regulations that any automobile has to do. You got to use turn signals. You got to have brake lights. You got to have all this stuff. So if you're going to drink it someplace, before you jump in that golf cart and head home, you know, and I'm not your daddy telling you what to do, but I guess what I'm just going to say is nobody's going to stop you. Police can't stop you from doing it, but look over your shoulder. Make sure you know where you're at and where you're going. And if you're on a public road in your golf cart that does not have a golf cart lane on the side of that road, guess what? You're not supposed to be there. Huge crowd lines up to discard electronics and hazardous waste. They do hit there. They have certain days of the year where you can bring chemicals, like old paint in a bucket. You want to get rid of it. You can go to these certain places and discard them for free. And I don't know if you can see this or not, that little picture. Can you see how they're lined up there? Heck of a line, ain't it? Home in trust into villages, subject of deed compliance hearing. This happens here on a fairly regular basis. Somebody's home will be in a living trust or something like that. The kids or whatever either don't want the home, which I can't imagine them not just to sell it, you know, put a little bit of money in their pocket, but they live in Chicago or whatever. Even if a house sits here empty, there are certain rules that we have here. But when you're dead, I mean, who's going to force you to, I don't know. You can't shut your electricity off in your house. I know there's some areas in Florida, people are here for 3 or 4 months a year, and before they go north, they make phone calls or whatever, and they have the electricity shut off, they have the water shut off, they have their phone shut off, and all this and that. You can have your phone taken out here, but you can't have your electricity shut off. Your air mover has to constantly keep moving the air. Most people just turn your air conditioner or whatever up to say 80 degrees, and then go back up north. That way when the air conditioner, it keeps the air moving, it keeps a lot of the moisture out of the air, and it stops a lot of mold problems. And so that's why. So when someone passes away though and don't pay their bill, I'm sure the electric company don't really care about the developer in any way, and they'll come in and shut the electricity off. It costs, I'm going to take a stab in the dark here, it'll cost you between $500, $600, $700 a month here for your house to sit empty, because you still got bills you got to pay. Water, the trash, you can never stop trash here. Electric has to run all the time. You have to leave it on. Then of course you have house insurance that if you pay it by the month or whatever, even by the year, if you round it out, it's a monthly bill, right? There's some other things too. I can't remember all of them, but anyway, by the time you get done, it's $500, $600 a month for your house to sit here. Oh yeah, you got to hire somebody to mow the grass. That's every week or every 2 weeks or whatever, while you're not, even if you're not here. You got to have somebody to keep your trees trimmed, bushes trimmed, all that kind of stuff. So you got these bills you got to pay even if you're not here. The VCCDD agrees to spend $1 million to buy fuel depot from developer. Remember last week I said it sounded like it was a done deal by the way it was worded? Well, this confirms it. Village's couple wants more time and fines forgiven for illicit landscaping. This has been going on for a while. Let me show it to you. I personally have a problem with it. Nobody has a problem with it. The people are getting this information mixed up in their head. They want to blame trolls that don't exist. We know where the complaint come here. Maybe the owner doesn't, but he can find it easy enough. The complaint came from the utilities department. No troll or any of that. And I'm going to show you why. Me personally, like I said, I haven't got a problem. His neighbors don't have a problem. But guess what? The neighbors don't write the rules. And the neighbors don't count. And that's a fact. They just don't count. When you buy a used house, or a pre-owned home, I guess is the best way to put it, and there's a lot of landscaping around it, the first thing you want to do is you want, before you buy the house on contingency, you want the house surveyed, the property surveyed, and you want to know where all the easements are at and have them mark it. I think generally take a little can of paint and mark it on the ground. If any of your landscaping, including a tree, if it's in that easement, the utility company can make a complaint and then it hits the fan. You got to start moving stuff. In this situation, that's what happened. If I can get I want to get the picture to get bigger. Here we go. So I can show it to you. Okay. See that? I hope I got my 7. See that landscaping there? It looks good, doesn't it? You see anything wrong? Well, if you don't live here, you wouldn't. But let me just give you a little bit of education here. I'm trying to see myself here. This is the street out here, and it comes down in this way. There's the sewer line for a surface water drain. This stackable brick here, there's an easement from this road in like 15 feet. And he's got this tree, bushes, and this stackable brick here over the easement. So if they have to come down through there and work on a broken drain line or a water line or a sewer line, they got to tear all that out because he's on their easement. And I think he bought this house with all that in place. And now that he's a new owner, he's responsible. So the utility company went around the villages here a while back, and there were several homes that they turned in that encroached on the easement. And of course, everybody blames the so-called trolls that, like I said, don't exist. They say, trolls came through my neighborhood and they were complaining about my little white cross that's in the flower bed. No, it was your neighbors. Your neighbors did. Nobody wants to admit that. It's your neighbors. If I get turned in for anything, I'm not blaming trolls or anything like that. I'm just going to start watching my neighbors and see who drives by my house and gets a rubberneck looking. Groom Transportation resuming shuttle service between the village's community and Orlando International Airport. Groom is the company that bought the village's transportation company that shuttled people to the international airport. Yeah, they're opening things up. Whether you agree or don't agree, that's just what it is. They're opening things up. The squares will be open for 100% occupancy. I went to Evans Prairie to meet somebody that's probably going to be a guest on my Wednesday night live show. Well, you'll know this is Friday, so yeah. To meet him, to meet Rusty, and talk to him. And we sat outside and had lunch. And that was approximately 2 weeks after I went there, maybe longer, maybe a month. I was up there once with Sue. And the tables outside were spread way apart. Everybody was told you had to have a face mask to walk through the restaurant. Once you sat at your table, you could take it off. I'm okay with that. Well, this time, I forgot my face mask, and I told him, I said, oh my God, I forgot my face mask. In a country club, you can walk around and enter the back way. You don't have to go through the restaurant to sit outside. And I told her, I said, I'll walk around. I'll go outside and walk around. I'll meet you out back. And she said, no, you don't have to have it on anymore. The employees have to have it, but you don't have to have it on anymore. So we walked through. I was kind of uncomfortable about it. We went outside and sat down, and now the tables are more compacted. And it's all about snowbird season. Don't let them kid you. That's where these people make their money. Most of their yearly budget comes from snowbird season. Ironic that everything's opening up right before the snowbirds all start coming back in slewfuls. They're all starting to come back now. But right after Christmas is when they really start packing in. Villager with history of peeping, allegedly videoed man in public restroom. Oh my gosh, we get more sickos around here anymore. There he is, folks. You guys see his name? Whoops, it moved. See his face? If you live in a village of Chitty Chatty or anywhere down there, remember that name, or remember that face right there. He likes videoing people, peeking in their windows and stuff. Let me see if I can get it to open up. That's a bigger picture right there. See that? Look at that tough guy. Village of Chitty Chatty man with a history of peeping was arrested Tuesday after allegedly videoing a man in a public restroom. Ronald Jeffrey Bunt, 63, was arrested at his home at 5038 Sanders Street at about 1 p.m. on a charge of voyeurism. Sumter County Sheriff's deputies had been searching for a man who had gone to Lowe's Home Improvement on US 441 in Lady Lake on September 23rd and attempted to use his phone to video a man using the adjacent stall in a restroom. Hacienda Hills activist speaks out against AAC's developer-centric loyalist. And people are upset. I don't blame them. I really don't. I don't know all the ins and outs about how this works here and why. Here's the thing I don't understand. He owns property in the villages. I own property in the villages. If I want to do any major construction here, I got to go get AERC's approval. He owns property in the villages. He doesn't have to get AERC's approval. He goes to like Lady Lake or the town, and he puts in for, you know, permits and whatever to make these changes, and the town will approve them because tax dollars. But I guess my question is why wouldn't he have to go to AERC and get the same approval that I got to get because it's the same village's property? Is it like two different rules? Is that kind of discriminatory, you think? Just wondered. Anyway, in front of his golf cart, he's got a big sign that says, "Welcome to the town of broken promises." I totally understand. I'm not saying I agree, I just said I understand. Villager's daughter gets jail time after crashing Mustang upon release from rehab. Brilliant. She gets out of rehab, gets in her car, and then goes and crashes it. Oh my Lord, she probably went straight to her drug supplier or whatever. There she is. A village's adult daughter has been sentenced to 45 days in jail after crashing a Ford Mustang upon her release from a rehabilitation program. Diane Patricia Sullivan, 53, who lives with her mother in the Blake Villas in the village of Southern Oaks. I didn't know they was even starting to build down there yet. Was sentenced Monday in Sumter County Court in her fourth drunk driving conviction. Fourth. Whatever happened to 3 strikes, you're out? She will lose her driver's license for 10 years, means nothing, and has been placed on probation for 42 months. She has also been ordered to perform 160 hours of community service. Sullivan was involved in a crash at about 9 p.m. April 19th at Sarakenis Path and Armstrong Avenue, according to a arrest report from the Wildwood Police Department. Lose her license for 10 years. Just a little information. When you lose your driver's license here, you're not allowed to operate any motorized vehicle legally. That also means golf carts. It's a motorized vehicle. That means you're done. You either walk or have somebody take you. I don't think a lot of people know that, or they don't think it's right, and your opinion about whether it's right or wrong, you need to call your congressman and get the law changed, because that's the way it was in Indiana too. You lose your license unless you had special permission on your license or the judge telling you that you could maybe drive to work and straight home from work, and that's it. You're done. You can't operate any motorized vehicle. I know people went out and bought little motorcycles and they got arrested because without special permission, that's it. And if she don't have a job or get special permission, if she gets caught in her golf cart riding around Lake Sumter or whatever, going to the grocery store in a golf cart, and she does something stupid, That'll be it. It'll be her 5th arrest. Recently paroled Michigan sex offender moves into the Villages of St. James. Here's another one of these rental houses. They rent to anybody. They don't care. There he is. You guys see him? A Michigan sex offender who was released from prison earlier this year has moved into the Villages. Michael Bishop, Houston, 56, this past week registered an address at 2079 Southern Star Way in Southern Star Villas in the Village of St. James, according to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. He was released from the Michigan Department of Corrections in May and will remain on supervision through May 28, 2021. Houston was sentenced in 2008 in Washtenaw Circuit Court after pleading guilty to 3 counts of soliciting children for immoral purposes. At the time of sentencing, the prosecutor's office called him a dangerous person. I'm not going to read all of this, but this guy that likes to harm children just moved in your neighborhood of St. James because somebody owns rental property, probably either turned it over to a home management company, or maybe they rented it out themselves. They don't care. They don't do background checks. They'll rent it to anybody. That's going to be the downfall around here if this keeps up. Villager jailed after confronting golfer at home overlooking a Bonifay golf course. See, I think I don't know the person personally, but I know the home, I think. And everybody told me when I'd play golf over there, we go by this house, everybody would tell me, that guy in that house is nuts. He would go out in the back and he would put up all kinds of stuff. Motion lights, surveyor stakes, I don't know. He had stuff stuck all over back there because he didn't want anybody in that area, I guess. But the problem was that area wasn't his yard. Some of these people that buy homes on golf courses crack me up with the arguments they have because you just think, then why did you buy on the golf course? What did you think? I don't know. Let me show you this guy. There he is. Can you see him? There's his mugshot. I mean, he looks like a fairly intelligent guy. I mean, an 80-year-old villager was arrested after confronting a golfer who pulled up stakes near his home on the Bonifay Championship golf course. The golfer had been playing near hole number 3 when he removed grass stakes from the ground, which are stakes that mark where golf carts are not to drive on the grass, according to the arrest report from Sumter County Sheriff's Office. This apparently enraged David Malt, who lives on 2985 Armhurst Way, a residence which backs up to the golf course. Mutz got upset and aggressively approached the golfer, taking the golf stakes from his golf cart. During the altercation, the New York native pushed the golfer, causing him to slip into his golf cart. The golfer suffered a cut on the inside of his lip, the report says. Oh, you know. Woman with license revoked due to DUI nabbed in the Villages with beer. New food truck coming to serve villagers south of State Road 44. Another food truck. I would think after a while, then people down there there's nothing wrong with these food trucks. I've ate off of them. They're fine. But it's not like going in a restaurant and sitting at a table, it's just not. But it's okay. Just have a little something different. But hopefully in that shopping center, they'll get a couple restaurants in there to kind of give us somewhere else to go. Villager enters plea in alleged case of voyeurism in bathroom. I just read that. This is a week's worth of stuff. See, same guy. Okay, did you see it? Okay, same guy. Updated report. Robert Jeffrey Blunt, 63, on Monday in Sumter County Court entered a plea of not guilty to a charge of video voyeurism. He remains free on $2,000 bond. He has retained attorney Gail Grossman to represent him. The other man pulled his penis out to urinate. Yeah, well, that's generally what you do. And while urinating, he noticed a glare down by the bottom of the stall. He took a closer look and determined the glare was from the lens of a phone, according to an arrest report. He called management and store personnel, detained a man wearing a black Under Armour polo shirt, khaki shorts, black shoes, and Disney face mask. Is he walking around Lowe's with a Disney face mask on? Oh, never mind. Never mind. I was thinking of something else. It was noted that the man had dark black hair, the man who was sitting on the bench outside the restroom, and while he was sitting there, he went through his phone in a quick, nervous manner. Management asked him to leave the store and watch him drive away in a white SUV with a Disney fan license plate. Store personnel took down the license plate number. Blunt claimed that while in the stall, he had been adjusting his hammer toe, and his cell phone was in the other hand. He refused to allow a deputy to download the contents of his phone. He stated his phone is very private to him. The deputy wrote in his report, Blunt had previously been charged with peeping into the window of a man's apartment in Virginia and admitted to police that he drove there specifically to peep into the window because they were garden or ground level apartments, the report said. He was convicted of peeping into an apartment window. Blunt was in the news in 2016 when he was first in line for a book signing at Barnes & Noble in the Villages for Tanny, Tennille, and Captain and Tennille fame. He took the songstress bouquet of flowers. At the time, he was living on Cokesbury Drive in the village of Caroline. He sold that home this past July and moved. They keep putting the price of homes in here, and I don't understand what the price of homes got anything to do with the story. Somebody sent me an email about that, said he didn't understand why they keep doing that. I'm with you. I don't either. I don't understand. I don't care if he paid $1 million for the home. Who cares? Anyway, I moved into the home in the village of Chitty Chatty, which was purchased. Once again, tells you how much. I don't understand it. The New Jersey native was arrested November 10th at his home at Saunders Street. Sounds like this guy's got a history of doing the wrong thing. By the way, one of the news reports here was about bad parking in the villages because the snowbirds are back. I didn't show you any of that because that bad parking really doesn't have anything to do with snowbirds other than you see more of it because there's more people here, but that bad parking is all year long. All year long. I think I told you I was over at Pinellas when the store manager was arguing. This was in the summer now. He was arguing with an older person as to why he couldn't drive his golf cart in the grocery store. And the guy was arguing back with him, saying it was his right. And I stood there for a little while listening. I didn't get involved. I was just listening. And I actually started to laugh a little bit. And I walked away. I wish I had my camera. I wish I'd have thought about it. But it was hilarious. This guy really felt like he had the right to drive his golf cart in that grocery store. What can I say? Yeah, sex offender released last year from prison moves into rental in the villages. Let's see what this guy looks like. Oh, God. Look at it. Who are you trying to impress? The ladies? Sex offender released last year from prison has moved into a rental home. See, this one says rental home. Most of them are. A rental home in the village is Dale Lynn Fox, 57, has registered a permanent address at 712 Artesia Avenue in the village of Polo Ridge with the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. Fox was convicted in 1992 in St. Johns County on a charge of sexual battery by an adult on a victim less than 12 years old. He was sentenced to 27 years in prison. He was released on September 29th, 2019, according to the Florida Department of Corrections. The home at which Fox was registered a permanent address is owned by Artesia Holdings, LLC. Companies come down here sometime and will buy a block of homes. It's just an investment property. And they rent to anybody. They don't care. They don't care about the people that live here. They don't care that it's a retirement community. They just don't care. If you're going to buy a house and rent it out, I implore you, if you turn it over to a home management company, you tell that home management company what your restrictions are. Period. They have to go by what you tell them. And if you're going to rent it out yourself, then you have the authority to discriminate any way you want. People say you can't. Yes, you can. I did it all the time. You can't do it by race or color or creed or nothing like that. I mean, I'm not talking that way. But if somebody comes in here is a sexual offender, you say, I ain't renting to you. You don't have to. Just don't do it. And I'm sure your neighbors will appreciate it. Anyway, I'm depressed already, so we're going to call this the end. That's the Village's news. I hope you guys enjoyed Wednesday Night Live. With that being said, that's the news. See you on the other side.